There's a possibility that you don't know these super helpful and useful Procreate hacks, and that's going to change today. And once you start using them, I promise you, you're not going to be able to work in Procreate without them. I've been using Procreate for about 5 years now, and I've just discovered a couple of these tools. I know Procreate's gone through some updates, but I'm pretty sure there's a few of these tools that have always been there, but nobody told me about them before. Like anyone could have told me about these, but like, why didn't you tell me about them? They have made my Procreate workflow so much better already since I've started using them, and I want to make sure that you know about them. But there are a few of the tools that I'm going to show you today that I have used for quite a while, but I just don't see a whole lot of other creators sharing about them. So I want to make sure that you know about them as well so that you get the full benefits of your Procreate. So the first one is called Active Color, and this tool has immensely improved my workflow. But Active Color is like one of the most basic tools that everybody uses. You can't not illustrate something without having an active color, right? But what no one talks about is that when you press and hold on your active color, it will switch between your current and previous color. I discovered this recently when I was making my fuzzy black velvet poster, and I needed to switch back and forth between white and black quickly while I was in a layer mask. And it made making this illustration so much quicker, and I absolutely love this tool now. If you've used this one before, head to the comments and let me know that you had used it. And that way we'll get more comments on here, and then more people will find this and more people will know how to use this active color and switching back and forth between these two colors, because everybody needs to know this one. Next, I want to talk about making wavy text in Procreate. Whenever I see someone sharing how to do the wavy text or the curved text effect in Procreate, I only ever see them using just one tool. Usually it's Liquify, sometimes it's Warp, but I feel like I have the best way. It's just kind of in my opinion, but let me show you how I like to do it. So here's what I did with just Liquify. Here's what I struggled with just Warp. It looks awful. So let me show you my favorite way to do this. And I have my text here. It is just still text. So first thing we need to do is we need to rasterize it. So that's just gonna turn it into pixels that we can't edit as text anymore. So I'm just going to tap on it in my layer stack and tap on rasterize. And now it's like an image. The next thing I wanna do is I wanna turn on a grid. So I'll go to Actions and Canvas and then tap on Drawing Guide. And I'm just gonna go to Edit Drawing Guide to make the grid size bigger, and I'll just tap on Done. You don't have to do that, but I'm an old lady and I like to see things bigger. So there you go. All that to say is that I want to distort this, and I want to move each of these sides, one side down and one side up, and I want it to be in equal proportion, and that's why the grid is going to be useful for that. So I will just put this in between 4 cells or 4 pixels or however you want to see it. And then in transform, I will switch to distort. And so I want to make sure that each side stays 4 squares tall. So I will go down 1 and down 1, and then up 1 and up 1. And so that's made my text and I just like what it adds to the curvy effect of this text, or the wavy effect of this text. So now that I've got that in a diagonal, I will now go to the Liquify tool, and I have it set to push. And I'm gonna change the size, well, let's just go 60%. I'm gonna change pressure to max, and then distortion momentum turned off. And now I can just sort of push and pull and push and pull to my little heart's desire. And it doesn't even take that long, and you've got a really great bit of wavy text. And in comparison to these, I mean, that one looks pretty good. It's just, I like how the first letter and the last letter are offset more from each other than just using Liquify alone allows. So that's just my favorite way of doing it. I really liked how it looked on my layer mask video when I had the word wander and I used this same method of doing the wavy text. I just thought it looked really good. And I wanted to make sure that you knew this method so you can get the look you really want when you're doing the wavy text effect. The next tool or hack or however you want to see it is Page Assist. And I haven't found anybody talking about this feature yet. I'm sure it's been there for a while and it kind of has the same backbone as the Animation Assist, but Page Assist is just a little bit more simplified. But what Page Assist does is it kind of turns your Procreate into a digital notebook or a digital sketchbook so that you can kind of flip between pages and there's no transparency between the pages. So let me show you how it works. So turn on the Page Assist by going to Actions and then Canvas and then toggle on Page Assist. And then each layer becomes the page of a notebook. As an artist, I use this when I make collections of line drawings for Etsy. I like to keep an entire collection in one canvas, and each image that I make is in its own layer. And Page Assist is great for flipping through each of my illustrations. So this is very helpful for someone that likes to illustrate in this way and use Procreate to make many images like PNGs to sell on Etsy. So now it's my turn to talk about copying multiple layers in a canvas or from one canvas to another in Procreate. And there are other artists talking about this one, but this information took a lot of time to get to me. So I want to make sure that everybody knows about this one. So now it's my turn to talk about it. So first, let's go ahead and copy multiple layers into a new canvas. It's super simple. All you need to do is quick select the layers that you would like to copy, then tap and hold and lift them up, and then you can go out to your gallery and then go to the canvas you would like to move them to and easily drop them into the new canvas. So I use this feature a lot for the animation assist. So here I am animating another illustration of some little animals in some rain. And I just borrowed some rain from another illustration. They don't really match very well, but we're gonna go ahead and try it anyway. And now I'll show you how to copy multiple layers in a single canvas, and we can do that one of two ways. We can first group them together and do a quick duplication and then go back into each of them and tap on ungroup. Or another simple way to do that is doing a quick select of the multiple layers that you want to duplicate and then tap and hold down and then add them back into the canvas. And my only issue with that is that they don't get put back into the canvas in the same order that they are below. So it's really up to you how you want to do that, but I'll show you how to do that again. You just quick select the multiple layers that you want, you tap and hold, and you put them back into the canvas. And again, it just doesn't put them in the right order every single time, but it still works and you still have your duplicated layers, and that was what you wanted to do. So this next Procreate hack is making combined brushes in Procreate. Making combined brushes isn't something I see shared a whole lot in tutorials, and it kind of makes me feel like creators might be, I don't know, gatekeeping. And this might be more of an intermediate or advanced skill, so maybe that's why it's not shared a whole lot on these beginner tutorials. And if you're making your own Procreate brushes or you want to make Procreate brushes to sell, knowing how to make combined brushes is a skill you really need to have. I make and sell Procreate brushes, and this is something that I do all the time. So let's go ahead and make some combined brushes together, and we're only going to use what is in Procreate source library. It's really easy to do. You just need to get a little comfortable with it, so let's do some together. You can combine and edit and blend brushes in Procreate. You can even use the Procreate default brushes for your combined dual brushes. However, you can only combine default brushes if you first make a copy of them and then you make your combined brush from those copies. So let's go ahead and do that now, so you can start doing this yourself and get really comfortable and experienced with making combined and dual brushes. So the first one I want to make is with the chalk brush. So I'm going to duplicate that one. I'm just going to put that in another folder to make my combined brush. The other one I want is the dry ink brush from the inking tab. So I'm just going to duplicate that and drop it into that folder. So to combine your brushes, you just have to select both of them by doing a quick select, and then it will generate this little combine button. But first you need to choose which one you want to be your main brush or your primary brush. And I want the chalk brush to be primary, and I want dry ink to be my secondary brush. So now I'm going to tap on combine, and magic, they are combined together, but it's not quite done yet. I want to change some of the settings to make it look really cool. And not only is this going to be a combined brush, but this is going to be a dual color brush. The first thing you need to choose is how you want your combined mode to be. On this one, I'm just going to keep it to normal, but the different options, they're kind of like blending modes on layers. So it's going to change how the two brushes interact with one another. When you set it to normal, they're just kind of stacked on one another. The ones down here, like linear height, divide, subtract. Subtract is really cool. It's going to subtract the secondary brush from the primary brush, if that makes any sense. So you just want to play around with those. But on this one, again, I'm just going to keep the combine mode to normal. I have my primary brush selected. I'm going to change the settings on the primary brush first, and the first change I'm going to make is under rendering, and I'm going to change this to uniformed glaze. I'm going to go down to color dynamics. Color dynamics is where you're going to turn this into a dual color brush. So I'm going to skip the stamp color jitter. I'm going to go to stroke color jitter, and I'm going to turn up secondary color to max. Color pressure, I'm going to have brightness to max and secondary color to max. And then color tilt, secondary color to max and brightness to max. I'm just going to keep color barrel roll as it is. I don't want to change a whole lot of the properties, just kind of how they interact with each other, but the basic property of the brush, I want it to act like it normally does. So now let's go down to the secondary brush, which was the dry ink brush. And I just want to go down to properties and make sure the size is the same as my primary. And this was 89%, and then the minimum size was 0%, so that's good. So now we have our new combined brush. It just has the original name on it as my primary brush, but you could change that just so that you can give it a name that kind of is reflective of how your brush looks. So first thing we need to do is we need to set the dual colors for this brush. In order to do that, you have to go to the disk tab of your color picker, and your dual colors will be right here. We can see one is purple and one is black. Lighten up the black side so we can actually see it, and it's really good to have one light color and one dark color. I'm going to change this other one to a green just so there's a really good contrast. So now we've got a green and a purple. And now we can kind of see our dual brush in action, and you can see those two colors together. Here, let's change this green to something a little bit darker so that we can see it on the screen better. So I will clear that out. Let's do it again so you can really see it. And you can play with these colors and you can choose anything you like. You can have different combinations of your dual colors and just create something really cool. So if you want, you can go in and change settings if it's not shaping up to exactly how you like. So let's go to the properties on the secondary brush and make it smaller and tap on done. And let's see what it could look like. So that looks really cool too. I like kind of how it's not fully around the primary brush. So this is a really great way to get to know how this works. So just play around with it, and it's a really fun thing to do, and it's a skill that you should know if you want to make more brushes. So that's all I have for you in this video. If you would like to learn more about Procreate's best built-in tools, go ahead and click on this playlist. I have tons of tips and hacks to make your Procreate art even better, so I will see you there.